nice to see your face.
It's so nice to see you too. And then I'm in the office, so I'm very happy.
The reason why I wanted to talk to you is to talk about your perspective, particularly about the future of work and the future of the workspace. In a recent interview that you did with the Interior Design Show, you talked about holistic design and the future of the workspace. I wonder if you could expand what the holistic approach is and what the final result of a holistic approach is and how that's different than what's gone on pre-COVID.
So it's no longer just about functional space or aesthetically pleasing space. It's no longer about the brand. It's no longer just about the culture. It's all about everything. The holistic approach that we came up with, 3 key components. So mental health and physical health, business drivers. So it could be operational focus, process focus, purpose focus, so activity based. And last but not least, sustainability and economic drivers. One of the things that we were never privy to do as designers was to give business opinion. So the real estate team and say, hey, Miss Designer, give us your projection of how much space this client needs. Kind of imagine them in a proximity of 10-15% contingency, and then we'll do a deal. And then you design it. So we're like, okay, well, that's the traditional way. But during COVID now, I think people are more aware that designer has more exposure to every facet of the business. So I know all about your relationship department, the way that you procure all your stuff, how much money you want to invest in the office, how much space you want to lease, what kind of age range your staff would be, what kind of business industry you're in. Do we, as a designer, have the most knowledge of the business? Yes, because we're not just from the emotional side coming in, we're actually coming from the business side. Our challenge is we're never really involved in those conversations in the past, unless it's a very big client. A mid to a small size user would never invest in a designer to talk to them about business strategy / workplace strategy. And because they have to deal with COVID now, they actually ask us for our opinion of how do you return to work. So my conversation isn't about return to work. Is that why do you want to go back to work? So we can now address their footprint, or they financially need to downsize, and what's the maximum occupancy they want to have, what's the ideal culture they want to have, and how do we actually input all that into this sort of wellness / social distancing engagement of staff into the mix. So instead of saying, what do you need, is why do you need it? The answer might be the same. The question might be, why do you need 5 offices? And they say, well, I have privacy requirement. Okay, can we address it differently from a COVID standpoint, functional standpoint, or financial standpoint, or wellness standpoint, or a posture standpoint, technology standpoint, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. But if the question is why and not what, the solution will be slightly different and our approach will be different.
I love it, because this is what just excites me so much, because so many people are less interested in what
is important still, like what is the thing you need and what is the thing you want is so important. But having the question why first.
I'm sure you're feeling about that. In my work and in my job, I find that the process has changed. Mm-hmm. I'm discovering that there is an evolution to how I do my job. There is a lot more time that I'm putting into the why aspect versus what. Let's just get it done. Let's figure it out. And of course, that is still an important piece of the puzzle. But I'm just so much more interested in, why.
So it's almost like an opportunity to purge.
Yes, and really hone in on why we want to be doing business with the people and companies with whom we're doing business. With whom specifically do we want to be doing business? Where are we aligned? Because if we're not aligned, I'm not interested.
Am I still hopeful about relationship? The strong relationship stays, and then the not so strong don't stay.
Yeah, and that's okay. That just means that we're not aligned in the moment, and that's okay.
Yeah, that is okay.
COVID has had many blessings in disguise.
I think so, yes.
The glaring, obvious one is that people are not taking people for granted.
Right. So if you think about the workplace, the reason why people want to go back to work is not just being in a formal setting or having the photocopier next to them because they want to photocopy, but really it's about the community and the culture they built A lot of companies are saying, well, I don't need office anymore. Well, but then why did you need the office in the first place? And one of the conversation we have with multiple clients is now that we know we can work from home and we have the technology to support it, it's no longer about working from home. It's why do we need an office? Every single time I have a client that comes to us to do any kind of back to work strategy or reimagining the future, or their lease is up, work from home strategy is working really well. I said, then why do you need an office? There's a brand requirement. So I start talking about business with him, engagement, team building strategy, the presence of the company, recruitment, market presence. It was no longer about how many seats I need. It was about why do I have an office? So from a financial standpoint, I not only save them money, but I also know that they can now have a expenditure of smaller investment on the real estate. They have more investment in the things they want to build. Social space, more money for the technology they require. They will make sure that everybody has wireless. So instead of just paying rent, they can move the money for something else.
Are you finding that a lot of your clients are downsizing? Yeah, I don't get that sense either.
But I think the next 3 to 5 years, we will see AI rapidly coming alive. Instead of spending so much time doing working drawings, we will spend more time contemplating and designing for the future of people and focus on humanity and focus on community. We need to help each other. And in order to come alive, from this, semi-recession and this pandemic, we need to help our friends and family and neighbors. So how do we do that? We need to share. So I share a lot of ideas that I sometimes maybe sound like I'm just dreaming. And I think if we don't have sounding boards along the way, how do we actually create a new thing? I don't know. I have big dreams and hopes for our industry. I do. There's so many young firms. There are not dinosaurs like ours. They're so inspiring. They don't mind sharing their ideas. They talk like artists and philosophers. So if us, the older people in the industry, if we could learn from those behaviors and try to reimagine our own firms like they do, I think we can come out stronger for sure.
Dreams are blueprints.
Yes.
How have you guys managed to stay collaborative and stay effective?
I think we're making do and not being fully effective.
Yeah.
But what we have learned is we care about each other's thoughts. We have to be more articulate, communicate better and more thorough, more specific and direct on what our expectations are, change our communication style to be more understanding. Like 2 months ago, I wasn't very stable, but I think now I'm much more confident that we will be okay. I'm so forever grateful for my team like Bruce, Glenn, and Mike and girls. I think it actually helps all of us to become more whole. I don't know if I can feel as strong without them. Am I a little bit more harsher? I think I am. My expectation of the studio have increased. Am I a little bit more strict on deliverables? Yes. But if they deliver, I'm good. I'm still this old school, like I want them to be here. I want to see them work together. It makes me feel happy when people around me. So I have to change as a leader to realize that people are still working and performing and designing and creating without my presence. I see we're not very effective on full collaboration yet because I have high expectation, but we are much more engaged in the design process.
I totally get it because COVID is now telling us what our experience is going to be. And we have to collectively shut up, sit down, and wear beige about that.
Yeah. So if we can say,
we emerge.
Yes. So it's kind of like when Whitney Houston wants to come back, she creates a new single.
Yes.
Get a new body. Have a new perspective.
I really do believe.
I do too.
That everything is going to be better because we are going to collectively be better.
I hope so. We will come ahead stronger and hopefully brighter.
I hope so too.
Yeah. Thank you very much for this. This is nice.
I'm so glad that you found time for me today.
Bye.
Bye.